Here's why intelligent men struggle with dating. And it is, in my personal and professional opinion, that smart and successful men have the hardest time dating. And it's because they are the guys who have mastered the skill of analyzing and perfecting things. As an intelligent guy, this skill has probably served you really well in other areas of your life, like your career, but it doesn't work well for you in your dating life. Because the more you analyze in your dating life, the more you overthink. So instead of approaching that cute girl, for example, you start to overthink every possible outcome that could happen, or you spend your time trying to think of the perfect thing to say and find the perfect time to say it. And then you either end up talking yourself out of it completely, or just missing the opportunity. So the next time you see a cute girl looking at you, you need to stop overthinking and trying to find the perfect thing to say, and just go up and say hi to her. Let me know in the comments if you're one of my smart guys that struggles with this. And as always, feel free to save this video as a helpful reminder that you need to stop overthinking it.
This is exactly why you don't listen to random 304s giving dating advice, because they all think they have this galaxy brain, high IQ dating advice, when really the only thing coming out of their mouth is utter nonsense. You have to go up and say hi to them. Wow, thanks, I better write that down. We better get Matt Walsh in here to tell us about clean shirts next. But what I think is the most egregious part about her video is what she thinks is strictly intelligent men's struggle, when I would argue the 5' whatever making $50,000 has it just as hard, if not harder. You don't need a 200 IQ to overanalyze and overthink. That's just her targeting an audience to make her advice sound more credible. But I will give her this though, guys are thinking that if I talk to her, is she going to publicly humiliate me? Or am I going to be the next viral TikTok? But putting all that stuff aside for a second, overthinking's really never been a man's problem. It's always either been A, they're socially awkward, and they can't pick up cues quite as well, so it is almost like talking to another species, or B, they have some physical deficiency, like being short, fat, or ugly, so they already know they're going to be looked over or rejected because of it. More importantly, her 1982 choosing advice doesn't apply anymore, as women have made it clear that just because they look at you doesn't mean they want you to approach. This is a prime example of why I don't listen to female dating coaches. Their advice is usually bad and outdated, and even if all these modern problems didn't exist, this advice still wouldn't help you, because it was never really advice to begin with. It's about as useful as the Daily Wire goofballs telling you need to shower and wear a clean shirt, because what she's saying is the very least of men's problems in today's market. Because if this was really the problem, it really would be a much simpler fix. This just comes from the mind of someone who doesn't understand the plight of the other side, and the only thing they can comprehend, well, is they must not know how to approach.
I've been cheating on him for 3 years. With his best friend. We had 2 kids, 3 and 6 years old. And when all this came out, and I hid it for 3 years in the church, when all of this came out, he looked at me and listen, a good therapist knows your feelings are valid and you can feel all of those things. He was mad, he was hurt, he was confused, he was disoriented. All those things were still true. None of that was underscored or not a part of his experience. But what was also a part of his experience, because he had been submitting and surrendering to the Lord so faithfully for so long, was he literally looked at me, and all I expected him to do was exactly what every man had done in my life, my dad, all these other men, was to leave. And instead, he looked at me and he said, "Casey, I don't know how to not love you." That is when Jesus became my Lord. That is when I got grace for the first time in my life. I realized that that is what Jesus had been saying to me all along. You don't understand, girl. You know, you can run from me. You can hide from me. You can be mad at me. You can do all these things. And the reality is, I don't know how to not love you.
This right here is exactly why I see all these women run to Christianity. They view it as a sanctuary to all their bad decisions, because they know it will accept them at whatever condition they come in, and it's full of simpy, dumb men to sweep it up, and women like this prove it. It also shows that a lot of the time that these women don't actually believe in it, even if they're going, saying the words, putting on the costume. It's just a show like everything else to them. And then when they needed to come in and save their ass, they all of a sudden find grace. It wasn't the years he put in with you, the family he built with you. Nah, It was me being horrible and him staying anyways. This is exactly why all the men are running towards Islam, because Christianity can't keep any of the women in line, and when the reward is the same as being ran through or pure, there's no incentive to be the latter. So it's not some great mystery on why men are abandoning Christianity, because there's no punishment and they expect you to sweep it up. And honestly, how do we know she's just not lying now? She lied years about one thing, so why wouldn't she lie years about another? And with the sad music, the host crying, it makes it look like it's some sort of redemption story, when really it's a horror one. And from the outside looking in, it looks like a place I really wouldn't want to be a part of, where you can be devoted for years and this is what you get. The optics don't make it look like it's a place for men. And unless Christianity takes a page out of Islam's book and at least stops uplifting these women, you'll see it just declining further, because it just shows men that it won't stop women doing from what you're worried about, and forces you to hold the forgiveness card. Meanwhile, she may not be believing any of it.
Hate to call out my own party, but the young girls on the right promoting this like trad wife bullshit. I just want to make sourdough for my husband. That's great. I'm all for it. I promote traditional values. I understand. I have been working since I was very young. I don't really plan on stopping working. I suggest you find a hobby that makes you money. But you guys, guess what? Guess what, baby girl? That lifestyle working out, a man, a provider, you just get to sit at home, bake bread every day, slim to none. I would say none that's going to work out for you, or quite literally anyone you know. You're actually setting yourself up for failure, because it could not be easier, if that's what you're going to pursue, to be trapped by a man. Okay? Also, let's bring some other things to the table besides sourdough. Guys want to be mentally stimulated as well as physical, okay? But I'm just like, please, you guys are too young to be promoting this. And also, by the way, it's cringe.
This is a perfect example of how these female conservative influencers really aren't on your side. Just because they have a few base takes, it really doesn't mean much, because they still agree and believe on a lot of the other talking points, namely needing to bring more than just baking skills and being trapped in a marriage with a man. At least these people out themselves for the feminists they are, because if these people actually gave thought to what they're saying and not just echo feminist talking points, they'd realize, no, this is exactly what men want. But she is right about one thing though: those women looking for that trad lifestyle don't have much of a chance, because you have women like her poisoning the well, to now where men just don't approach. Companies are hiring women like her over men, and women's insatiable greed for more. All these things have synergized together to make any ideas of the 1950s nuclear family coming back basically fictional now. But what she really gets wrong is now that it's easier than ever not to get trapped by a man. Divorce laws are as loose as they ever been, and the default position is women right. You never see too many women losing when a divorce is involved. So this getting trapped is some 1970s talking point you guys just refuse to let go, like the wage gap. Because you know if you stop complaining about it, well, there wouldn't be much to complain about then. Her last point about women being too young to promote this is completely wrong too, because there's no other women better to promote this. Because right now we only have old women promoting this, and that's useless, because nobody wants them now. Her calling it cringe is just her own cope seeping out, because she's not getting the top choices anymore. The only thing cringe here is women like her, who pretend to be conservative, but when you look at their life, they're not living any of those values. They're just feminist in conservative clothing.
I remember this guy, we were friends or whatever, and then like he wanted to like hook up.
Friends or whatever.
We were friends. We were friends from high school. We genuinely had always been friends, and then he wanted to like hook up, and then I didn't want to. And then after that night that he wanted to and I didn't want to, he ghosted me. Like, he was not my friend anymore.
Well, he was never your friend.
I know, but
See, and this is why it goes back to guys and girls cannot be friends.
I genuinely thought we were good friends.
It's because you're innocent and like you obviously haven't been through enough life to understand that that's not true. Guys always want something from the girl. Always.
They always want things. And so do girls. I think it's just opportunity waiting. They're just waiting for some opportunity, which is exactly what you described. Because then he did it and it didn't work. And he's like, all right, peace. Gone.
The big takeaway from this clip is that there's still a lot of guys that believe the same thing that the simp on the left believes, that they're innocent in this transaction. There's no way in like 10 years that this guy never dropped any clues, hints, or jokes that she just brushed off. And especially in today's day and age, this isn't 1950. This info has been around for years, and especially in her age group who grew up with it. Like I said, she most likely just kept her head in the sand and brushed all those things off. And honestly, most of the time it's the guy's fault, because they try to slow pimp her way to her heart, and that almost always never works. When you hang around for so many X years, what else do you think women would think? They probably had no other guy stick around without wanting something in return. So when you come along and give them the boyfriend experience and not try to get in their pants, and you don't make theirs boil, why wouldn't they keep you around? But thinking that they're completely innocent only comes from the mind of a simp, or someone who doesn't have much experience with women. That's why Bradley called it out, because he knows. To put it in a different perspective, if a girl you're not really that attracted to just kept coming over and giving you sex, you wouldn't stop it. That's the exact position these guys put these women in. You're giving them the thing they want without the usual cost. So why wouldn't you just let it ride? Because you do the exact same thing. But thinking they don't have some inclination that you want something more is completely wrong. They're not stupid. They just play innocent and dumb because they don't want you to ask. And if you ever do, they can just pretend to be shocked so they can have the nearest nearby simp feel bad for them.
Yup, I'm the mom who makes my daughter give me half of her paycheck. And before everybody comes for me in the comments and tells me I'm not supposed to take my kid's paycheck, first off, I put a roof over her head. Every day, day in, day out, I put a roof over her head. Clothes on her back, food in her stomach. I don't see why on earth I shouldn't take half of her check. Now, usually my daughter doesn't argue with me on it and she lets me take her check every week. But this week, she asked me if she could have a couple extra dollars for prom. I said no. Bills are bills. They come no matter what. Give me half the check, basically. And she threw this big fit. She called her dad, told him that I've been taking half her check, and now there's a big problem. And now he's saying that I'm a bad mom and this and that, but I don't think I am. I think I'm teaching her responsibilities, and the real world's not easy. I shouldn't have to pay for all my bills by myself. She should 100% pay for half of them. She used to get rides to and from work. Now, she did save her. I give her that. She saved the half of her check up until she had enough money to buy herself a car. So she does have her own car now. She does drive herself to work. She does do her own gas. But I was the main person that used to do that for her and take her to her job. So she owes me. I'm just kind of coming on here to see what you guys think.
This is how a divorced single mom hides that she needs to take her daughter's money in order to make ends meet and rationalize it to herself and everybody else that she's doing it in order to teach responsibility, which in all fairness is a good way to teach them, but usually they set that money aside and they don't actually need it. They aren't responsible for your bills. You chose to have them, and that comes with all the responsibilities of feeding, clothing, and housing them. And if you can't handle that, maybe you shouldn't be the primary caregiver, and even giving her the benefit of the doubt, and maybe this was temporary as she fell on hard times and it was either go homeless and starve or take half your daughter's check. The fact that you just continue with it like she owes you really kind of shows you the mother you are, and the guise of teaching responsibility you're hiding behind really falls apart when she was able to afford a car with you taking half her money. So any responsibility lesson you're trying to teach, I'm pretty sure she learned it long ago. Why don't you say what this really is? I'm a broke single mom that has to take my child's money because I'm living outside my means, and the fact that you couldn't even let her keep one paycheck to pay for a prom dress shows that I'm not far off from the truth, and the only person irresponsible in this whole situation is you.
If you are a stay-at-home mom, you should be receiving a salary from your husband. If you are a stay-at-home mom, otherwise known as a non-compensated working mom, and you are married to a man, your husband, the compensated partner, should be paying for the uncompensated labor. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of pissed off men in the comments, but try to replace you. Try to replace a stay-at-home mom. You're going to be paying for a chauffeur, a chef, a nanny, a project manager for the house. In fact, recent data has shown that stay-at-home moms, non-compensated working parents, if you had to pay them a salary, it would be at least $175,000 a year. So if you are a non-compensated working mom, if you are a stay-at-home mom, you deserve a salary from your husband. I said it.
What these uncompensated moms don't seem to understand is your compensation is that roof over your head, the clothes you're wearing, all that stuff in your house, and the food in your belly. And looking at her, she's very well compensated for it. Probably about 2 or 3 people's worth. Just because you don't get a paycheck every 2 weeks doesn't mean you're not compensated. You get all your needs taken care of by somebody else. What do you think that is? And really, if you just boil it down, you're just a nanny. You listing all the jobs you do like that is very misleading, because I wouldn't be hiring all those people to do one single job. I'd be hiring an all-in-one person, you know, like a nanny, and no nanny's making $200K. This is just you trying to make yourself more valuable than you actually are. Now, I'm not trying to diminish your role, as it is very important, but it's also not very high skilled. And if you really look at it, you're getting the better end of the deal here. Just because you're not getting a check check doesn't mean you're not compensated. So this idea that these stay-at-home moms need a salary is just rhetoric that these feminists use to gas themselves up. You having a good and decent life is the salary, and from the looks of it, you're doing just fine without it.
I've had my husband blocked on TikTok for years because, like I've said before, my activity on the internet is none of his business. But recently I was feeling kind, so I unblocked him. And at first his intrusion into my internet life started slow. Him liking my videos, it was him sending me things. It was fine. I didn't love it, but it was fine. We were chatting this morning and he just casually looks at me and he goes, "I see you followed somebody named Girthmaster." None of his business. And I didn't know what to say, so I just got red in the face and was like, I fumbled. This is my private space. This is my private internet. I am horrified. Why did he even know that? So he's about to get blocked. Real quick. Not Girthmaster. Love you.
What these people don't seem to get is when you enter a relationship, you're giving up that 100% privacy you once had. And that goes both ways. So whatever you're doing on or offline is actually 100% their business. Especially if you're conversing with people named Girthmaster. If you're blocking or hiding your activity from your significant other, then you obviously know you're doing something wrong. And you're just trying to hide behind my privacy. Obviously this guy's a cuck and a lost cause. So there's really not much point in talking about him. Because quite frankly, any guy that allows this really deserves what happens to him. My only real question for her is, would she be okay if he was liking and commenting on girls' Instagram photos of their butt and whatever other suggestive poses? Or even better yet, subscribe to a few OnlyFans? My guess is probably not. And that's exactly what you're doing here. Now, if he was holding your phone or had some sort of parental controls on it, then we can talk about privacy. But really that's an entirely different thing. But from the sounds of it, you just want to be able to cheat and hide it. I lean towards that this skit is fake, but that doesn't mean people aren't in situations like this, while the other hides behind the privacy argument. When you enter a relationship, you're giving up that 100% privacy. And if they ask, you better be ready to show whatever, because that's what you signed up for. But if that's important to you, then just stay single. Otherwise, it just looks like you're hiding something.
And why did you choose him?
Because he's hot and he has money.
Does money make a difference when you pick a guy?
Yes.
Why?
Because you get stability. You cannot be with someone that doesn't know what to do, doesn't find the business to provide the family food, the necessities. You cannot be with someone who doesn't know what does he want. You know what he wants.
That's why you chose him?
Yes.
How much does someone have to make to hit your criteria?
It's not only about quantities. Just to have someone he cares for you and he gave you everything that you need at home.
When you guys have an argument and you remember, he makes a lot of money, does that make it easier for you to stay with him?
Probably, yes.
I love it. So you're saying that money sometimes makes it a lot easier in a relationship?
Yeah, money it always makes things easier. I know it's not all about the money, but it absolutely makes all difference.
What we have here is Guy waking up and realizing all the reasons why she's with him. She isn't with him because she loves him or because he's hot, but because of all the reasons she listed, which is mostly centered around money. And a lot of guys, especially the older ones, don't figure this out until it's far too late, and there's nothing they can do about it unless they want to lose everything. This right here is the exact reason why these men channels exist, to help you avoid this future for yourself, so you're not one day doing street interviews where you're looking like you're stuck on stupid, and she's revealing all the reasons why she's with you, which is completely opposite on what she told you. I always find it funny that women do all these games and tactics to hide the true reasons on why they're with you, but the second you put a camera and microphone in their face, they just spill everything. But whatever, it's made it a lot easier for men to see females' true nature, and all it cost was a couple of views.
Not a great plan.
I feel like maturing is realizing that no, I don't need a ride.
Can we get your Instagram?
Do you not think this is weird?
It's not.
It's not weird pulling up on the side?
Sure you're safe.
No, I'm safe. I live right here. Thank you.
What's your name?
Oh my god.
Why not? Maybe this future you have them.
No. My future husband is not pulling on the side of the road to fucking catcall me. Ew. Why do guys do that? Like, I'm sorry, I just happen to be recording. But like, what makes you think I'm gonna be like, oh my god, yeah. You're fucking weird. You're weird. No.
This right here is exactly why chivalry is dead, and why guys don't approach, when we have women here giving sass and attitude back, when all he asked was if she wanted a ride home. Now his intentions may be questionable, but these guys didn't really do anything that weird, and the ride home thing was most likely some sort of icebreaker, because they almost immediately asked for her Instagram right after. These women will be the same women complaining that they don't get approached. Well, part of that deal is you don't get to choose when that happens, and sometimes that may happen not at the most convenient or appropriate places. It's just part of the deal that you have to accept when you want guys to approach. It's not weird, it's part of the process. If that guy pulled up in a Bugatti and asked the same question, would it be weird then? Probably not. I'd also like to point out there was no catcalling at any point. There was them asking if you wanted a ride home, then for your Instagram, and then a joke about being maybe your future husband after you rudely dismissed them. You just wish there was catcalling, so you can say these guys were harassing you. Lucky for us, you recorded it, so we could see that there was no catcalling at any point. That's just you trying to dramatize it more than it actually was. And pushing aside this guy's lame PUA attempt, all it does is just make guys not even want to be nice anymore. Because if he was just genuinely concerned, and all he'd want to do was just give you a ride, and this is how you responded, why would he do that ever again? And when other guys see this, they're going to do the exact same thing. So maybe the next time you're walking down the street and you do maybe genuinely need some help, don't wonder why people are just cruising by. To finish whatever nonsensical thing she was going to say, maturing is realizing maybe it's your own fault why your child is single and addicted to box wine.
Your number, the number of people that you've slept with. I have just a quick question before we dive into this. Do guys really care about a girl's number?
Yeah.
I'm not going to pin it on you, but I'm saying in general, from your friends, from what you heard, what is like a number that people usually...
Oh, I don't know. I think it's different for everybody. But
Okay.
do they care? I think most people do. I think a lot of people pretend like they don't.
Right.
And I don't think that it necessarily matters, but I do think a lot of people
I think it depends
think
on the
so.
box theory of where you put that girl in your brain. Like if you see her as, this is just my hypothesis on it. If you see her as wife, girlfriend material, you'd hope her number would be lower. Whereas if you just see her as a one-night stand, you don't really care what the number is. Perhaps.
I think that's generally true, yeah.
Generally true. Listen, if a guy asks you that, he is not the guy. He is an insecure dude with his own problems.
You guys got asked that on your first date a lot?
I haven't. She has. First of all, women, if you're ever thinking about your number and you're embarrassed about it, please don't. Who cares? If he's judging you on your number, goodbye, sayonara, he's not your man. Oh, because he can have 70 lovers and then you have had 17. You're strictly on the scarlet letters.
It's always so funny watching these women answer their own questions, but then simultaneously fall back into the shaming language of, well, he must be insecure. No, he just doesn't want to marry a slore, like how you don't want to marry a poor man. It's our indicator to tell if you're wife material or just a throwaway, just like how yours is if he makes 100K or not. It has nothing to do with insecurity, that's you projecting. At the end of the day, this is the perceived value men have on women. All that other stuff really doesn't matter. And if a guy marries a town bicycle, it really just reflects the value that he has on himself, not to mention all the other stuff that comes along with it, like divorce and cheating rates. To put it in their perspective, you don't see them running to marry the janitor. Why? Because it's seen as low value. We're all just trying to give our offspring the best chances, and for us, it's low body count. But women can't stand this. That's why they do everything in their power to undermine it. But that shaming language ain't working anymore. Especially now, since that language would only work on the guys you don't want to date anyways. You take one small subsection of guys and apply it everywhere. Because next to no guys are getting 70 plus body counts. Most of them are lucky enough to break 5. This falls in line with exactly how you think like every guy should be making 100K or is destined to be a CEO. If you want higher tier, you have to be higher tier. You trying to shame those men into accepting you is never going to work. They got so much choice they don't need to. If you want guys to accept that higher body count, then maybe you have to date that construction worker. Because it's not like no one will take these women. You just have to know your place. And if he's judged you on your number, it probably means you're shooting a bit too high, and you ain't his woman.